In 1926, a property developer bought this land to build a brand new housing estate. Fortunately for us, it was the Great Depression. Welcome to Interlagos and the second round of the Aussie Racing League, and it promises to be something special. Let's take a look at the track layout. 4.3 kilometres in length, 15 turns, and plenty of overtaking opportunities for those that are brave at heart. Let's take you off to your commentary team.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm Old Mate James, and in the box tonight we have the GOAT himself, HK Racing, and we're here at Brazil, as he so kindly mentioned in the intro. It's going to be an exciting one tonight. What do you think, HK?
Is that the sound of goat mates? I'm really looking forward to this. I love this track. It's very challenging. It's going to be very difficult in the new model, I found anyway, to overtake here. There's a lot at stake for these drivers after the first round, and I think there's a few people that felt a little bit hard done by after our first sojourn, and they'll be looking to make amends here today.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a very spicy ending to last week's Academy race at Spain. I believe it was Azar and Naps that had a little bit of a tangle in the last sort of final couple of corners there, and the FIA actually came out for that. So anyone that didn't keep up to date on the FIA from that incident, it was deemed NFA.
Yeah, they both. There's probably a list of things that they both got wrong, so it was left to the devices, which is fair call and a smart play.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion as well, that's probably the decision that I would have come to as well if I had been, involved in ruling on that case. Because yeah, one driver did this, another driver did this. They both could have done something different to avoid the incident altogether. So neither was really at blame.
Now sorry.
No, you go, mate.
The male I have is the man you have on screen at the moment, the Haas driver this week, Philly. I have it from a very, very reliable source that this guy is going to be absolute lightning around this racetrack. He has put in an enormous amount of practice, and apparently it's paying off with regards to his time. So we want to keep a very close eye on him.
You may have cursed him a little bit there, because as soon as you did, he invalidated his lap, unfortunately. And then we had, I believe, was that a Red Bull or a Williams go around in turn one right after him as well?
As long as it's not a Ferrari, I'm happy, because I'm going to be totally biased, and I'll put my hand up and say I'm going to be biased because, unfortunately, Khufu Cowboy can't come out and play today. He's got some IRL stuff that he's got to deal with, but you get that in the big gigs, don't you? And he's absolutely gutted. He feels like he's letting down the team. No way he's letting down the team at all. He's a great guy to have in the broadcast box. He's enthusiastic, and he's very, very quick on his day as well, too. So, yeah, disappointing for him. Let's see what Philly can do now. Ooh, there was almost a tangle between Philly and one of the Alfa Romeos.
I believe that's Hasselhawk, I think. So, and Hasselhawk just went straight on there too. I think he just was starting his lap there, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any reports out of that, maybe a bit of impeding, but it's hard to say one driver impeded another when they both were sort of starting their hot laps at the same time. So, I'm not sure quite what happened there.
I think that'd be a bit of a no-brainer, because I was watching and it looked like Hasselhawk came from an off-track position. I think we might have just been having some control issues or something like that. I don't think there was anything.
Oh, okay.
I know Hazel well enough to know that there was nothing malice in it, but
no.
We'll see how it plays out. Philly, though, be interesting to see what he can do with this one.
It's one of the great things about the ARL here is, like, there's never really any malice in any of these races, any of these incidences, at least very, very rarely in the time that I've seen.
I totally agree.
Philly is red on fuel here, but he probably will have enough to cross the line. Yes, he will have enough before he hits low fuel mode to cross the line. And he goes a 1:08.4. That's an excellent quali time for an Academy driver. Really good.
Awesome. Well done. The male was right. I won't tell you who dobbed him in, but the male was right. As a second quickest with a 1:08.9. That's not too shabby either. then Zilla, Ayrton, Dash, C. Marino, Foxy up into the top 10. Yo Boy Cappy just gets relegated down by Skipper, who goes 6th. Then you've got Siphon and Free Slim Shady rounding out the top 10, but still 13 minutes of this session left to go.
We have a Mercedes of Recon appears to be, it looks like he disconnected and it glitched out. So he's currently in the middle of Sector 2. He is ghosted, fortunately, so hopefully he can get back in and those issues will resolve themselves. And at the moment, we're on board with Naps in the Aston Martin, who is another one here to keep an eye on in the Academy League. Very, very quick, good, relatively good racecraft, and I expect to see him sitting somewhere around the first or second row as he just sets a purple first sector for us.
Well, this is the fascinating one for me because after the first round at Spain, this guy, as you rightly say, was like absolute lightning. You were sort of sitting there thinking, well, this guy's not going to last long in Academy before he gets moved up. But with Philly so quick here this week, it's going to be interesting to see if he's got the mettle to step up in the grade. So it's going to be a great dice between these two, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, Philly, as you said, a massive lead. He's 5/10 ahead of second place already, but Naps has just set a purple sector 2 as well, so that's purple 1 and 2, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty close here as he's coming up to the line. Oh, so good enough for P2, but just still 5/10 off of Philly in P1, which is a pretty significant gap. I'm honestly a little bit surprised by that gap. That's really well done by Philly.
As they say in the classics, game on, people, game on. And look at that. Look at the gap between Naps and Azza. There's nothing in it. We're going to get right down to the 1,000th of a second here, I dare say. And there's still plenty of pace to come once this track starts to rubber in a little bit around about the 5-minute mark. So there's still time to improve, but Philly the man to beat at the moment. And as you say, by a commanding gap.
Yeah, and I feel like he's going to maintain that gap for a while here, as we actually have the majority of drivers just in the pit at the moment. So everyone's sort of waiting for that sync pattern. Everyone's done their out lap, their hot lap, their in lap, and now we're just waiting on a couple of drivers doing some fast laps. And I imagine we'll, as you said, that 5-minute mark when the track starts to really rubber in is when we'll see a lot of these drivers come out again.
And what's your tactics in qualifying? I mean, you've seen me. I just go out, I do the 1 lap, I come back in, wait for the 5-minute mark, go out and do a second lap. If I feel that I can't get tyre pressure where I want them for my first flying lap, I might do 2 without ARS on. But other than that, I sort of come in. When you look at Elite and Prodigy, you see drivers going out doing lap after lap after lap after lap. And I think, well, the tyre, you're not going to improve on your times. What are you trying to? What's your capital gain? How do you approach qualifying?
Yeah, exactly as you said. You don't want to take too much out of your tires. There's no point doing 3 hot laps and 6 out lap cooldown laps or something like that, because you're just not going to set the time with the tires in that condition. So I'll typically do exactly what you said. I'll do 1 lap at the very start of the session. It'll be like my sort of banker lap. And then I'll wait for the 5-minute mark and go out and set a final lap. Depending on the track, if it's a really sort of technical track or something like that, I may do enough fuel for 2 laps initially on my sort of first out banker lap.
Yep.
So that if I, make an error early on, I can abort the lap, and I know that I still definitely have enough fuel for finish that lap plus do a hot lap or a cooldown lap in between if required.
Just a message for Steady on the chat. Thank you very much, my friend. I will go fix that up expeditiously. Guess what I forgot to do?
I believe False Salty fixed the title. Hey, is that Recon?
Oh, Salty.
It's Recon. Hey guys, apologies. My car has glitched out in the middle of the track. I don't know if you guys.
Yes, we saw.
Yeah, we did catch that. It's still there.
It's still there, glitching hard. So I'm not able to rejoin.
Oh, okay.
I can see it. So, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to do a reset if it's glitching that badly in the middle of the track?
So I'll hit up some of the guys. So whoever the race director is should be able to get involved and make the call, especially if you
Yeah.
can't rejoin and we're still relatively early on in the session. That
Yeah,
should be a
cool.
red flag and a restart.
Cool. Who is race director tonight?
I'm unsure. I have added Tazza. We'll just go admin
Cool.
and we'll see what comes from there. So
Thanks, guys. I'll
no.
leave it up to you guys.
No worries, Recon. Thanks for letting us know, keeping us updated
No
on the
worries.
situation.
And LJ the King, you're absolutely right. Philly is a bit quick here. He's put in a ton of practice this week for this track, and it's going to pay massive dividends if that time on the board's anything to go by. And he improves 108.173, so he has gone quicker, and we're still not in the peachy part of qualifying yet.
His teammate Zilla in the other Haas as well gets P2, so that's a Haas front row lockout at the moment. Although I anticipate there will be a red flag, so we will probably see what's going on.
I can almost hear Gunter going absolutely ballistic in the background of this result. Yes, we're going to get paid today.
is that your Gunter impression?
That's my Gunter impression.
Ooh. I
love that guy. He just calls it as he
Massive-
sees it and doesn't care. I love it.
Massive collision with Mercy Hamilton and C Marino. No, Azza. Azza? Yeah, Azza in the Red Bull. Mercy and Azza. Mercy was trying to stay out of everyone's way, but there was a lot of cars coming through, big amount of traffic, and yeah, Azza just rammed straight into the rear end of Mercy. Mercy comes straight onto the racing line. So that was a huge collision there, and I'm actually surprised that that didn't DNF Azza.
So we've got Naps out on track at the moment. He is on a flyer. Let's see what he can do. He's gone down to third, as you said, with Zilla jumping up to second to put those two Haas cars on the front row provisionally, but there's still 6 minutes of this session left to go. Let's see what he can do. He's on a reasonable sort of a lap. Goes second quickest, still 108.4. So he found the half a second he was looking for, but still not enough.
Yeah, I mean, he did drop that gap quite significantly, though, because Philly to Naps was, what, 5/10 before? Now it's less than 3, so that gap is closing pretty significantly.
Well, I hope Az is going to be okay and can continue on this qualifying session, because I've got pretty good hopes for him this week. Free Slim Shady doing a good job there to be up into the top 5 as well, along with his teammate Ed and Dash.
Yeah, expecting good things here from the Red Bull. So Siphon currently in P9, but Red Bull took home a 2-3 last week, so double podium for them. They didn't get that glorious P1, but they did get a lot of points otherwise.
And hindsight makes us all wonderful, wonderful commentators. But last week you were talking about those two fighting for position. Azza told me straight out, he said, no, we were working together. This is what we're going to do. We're going to play the team game the whole season here. And at about the halfway mark, we'll try and work out who's in front and who's not, and we'll take it from there. So what I love about Academy, which was missing in the past, a lot of these drivers now are starting to realise that the team game is way more important than anything else in individuality, because that's where you get your constructors points from. And
Absolutely.
you know, if your teammate's faster than you and you can sit in his DRS train, hey, you pick up free spots.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Mez and I were talking about that last week, or it may have been myself and someone else at the end of last season. But a lot of these drivers in Academy really need to learn like how to drive together with other drivers, even when they're not on the same team. Like if you're in position 4, position 5, and it's you and the guy next to you in DRS with each other, you don't want to battle really hard. You guys can just use that DRS and keep leapfrogging each other easily without battling really hard to catch up to the guys in front of you. And next thing you know, you're all fighting for a podium. It's a much more exciting race that way. So we do see that sometimes a little bit in the Prodigy and Elite divisions, but it'd be really good to see that in these Academy divisions as well.
And I think a lot of that, oh mate, James, is just because these guys are new to league racing. They're, pardon me, they're not aware. Like I remember in my second season of racing, I had 4 teammates out there. I won't say who they were, but you could probably guess. Um, there were guys that wanted me to do well in the championship and knew that they, didn't have a chance of finishing in the top 3, and they were all trying little things to help me out. Yeah, and it was so much fun, having that, not just the support of your teammate, not just support of the drivers and engineers that are in your academy, but other drivers as well. We've got a spinner in turn 1 by the looks of things.
Yes,
No, all
I believe that was the Haas of Zilla, who had
okay.
just started a hot lap. So, and we just see Hazahawk as well go around in the second of the Hamilton Verstappen corners. And take out a bunch of brake boards as well. I mean, I guess it's preferable to take out brake boards as opposed to take out drivers by rejoining unsafely. So he made the right decision there.
You can't say you impeded the lap.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, sponsors love that too because it generally gets screenplay.
Yeah.
So sponsors love it when you take out their signage, but don't do it, people. Don't do it.
Who was it recently? Was it the Japan race in the real F1 where someone was driving down the road with the sponsor board stuck on their front wing? I forget who that was. Yeah.
Was it Japan? I might have thought it was the USA. I could be wrong. I
thought it was Japan because I thought it was like when there was all those horrible raining conditions. It was 0 visibility.
Oh, you might be right. You might be right. I just have bad memories of racing at Japan in league racing. I took out nothing worse than if you take somebody out, you feel terrible. But if you take somebody out and you love the guy, it's 10 times worse. No penalty that the FIA can give you will make up for it ever. It's funny. Okay, now the front runners are out on a lap. We've got Zilla on a lap too. He's just
he's actually invalidated. It was really unfortunate for him. He invalidated right in turn 2. So that's 2 laps in a row where he's had a bit of a stumble in turn 1 too. And it has been called by Tazza, the race director. Unfortunately, we have red flagged this session due to that incident with Recon. Basically, it's unfair that Recon doesn't get to set a lap. And plus, if he's unable to rejoin and take control of the car, there's no guarantee that he will be able to take control of the car in the race. So we don't want to risk ruining the race as well. So this session will be red flagged.
Nap's just looped around on his final qualifying lap, so he'll be absolutely delighted. And he's done it again. He'll be delighted to hear that news. So red flag.
Lucky ghosting is on too, otherwise Naps probably would have just taken that pass out.
I miss ghosting. But I never trusted ghosting. The number of times that I had my front wing taken out because cars didn't ghost is ridiculous.
Absolutely. And it encourages bad driving strategies as well. And it's I wish there was something more we could do about it in F1 22, but I feel like yellow flags, you only ever get punished for ignoring yellow flags if you overtake someone, whereas there are a number of people that just do not lift through yellow flags and double yellows.
Yep.
Which is very, very difficult to do and to get away with pretty much in everything except for Academy now, because there's no more ghosting in those divisions.
Yeah, it's just really hard to police. It's hard to enforce. It means that you need a team of FIA watching everything, and they really need to be able to have replay so that they can make accurate assessments. And the one thing, and I'll point this out to our listening audience on Twitch and on YouTube as well. When we make a call, so-and-so and so-and-so went side by side and so-and-so's hit so-and-so. The vision we see is not necessarily the best vision to make a judgment call on who's right and what's wrong, but we're going to call what we see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we see may not be right. So don't get offended. Billy goes quicker again. He's going to be spewing when he finds out that this is red flagged. Well, if you're suffering from a case of deja vu, this is not going to help. We've got 17 minutes left to qualifying session for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And everybody that put in all that hard work Has to go and do it all again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though if we do see the qualifying grid, or sorry, the provisional grid looking very similar, if not almost the same as what it was at the last session when we had that red flag, because those drivers really, I don't want to say it's set in stone or anything like that, but you can definitely tell at the moment who the strongest drivers in the academy.
Absolutely. Lemon in chat's just asked, what's happened? Why are they running late? Well, we had to reset qualifying because there was a car parked in the middle of the racetrack. Recon, and he didn't actually even get a chance to set a qualifying lap. So the race director deemed that as, being a bit unfair on him. So we've decided to reset the qualifying session, and baby, we get to go again.
Yeah.
More racing for us.
Yeah, it's Codemasters striking again, unfortunately. It's just what happens when you have a game this big. There's always going to be bugs that do happen, and there's no way you can test and fix every single little thing that occurs. So, unfortunately, these things will happen, but, I mean, it's just more qualifying, right? We get to see more hot laps here at Brazil.
Oh, look, I know a lot of people, and I've been guilty of the same, of throwing stones at EA and Codemaster, their predecessors and stuff like that. If you think this game's bad, go and play Microsoft Flight Simulator. That'll change your mind. I mean, Microsoft Flight Simulator is absolutely beautiful. Like the graphics here, they're so realistic. It's just mind-boggling. And I used to be a private pilot, so I'm going to tell you, when you take off in a plane, it's like you're taking off in a plane. Only problem is the planes don't work, but don't worry about that. The graphics look wonderful.
I have played a little bit of Microsoft Flight Sim, but not an overly large amount. I've played quite a bit of DCS myself.
Oh, Zilla's looped it round. He was looking pretty solid too. In fact, there's quite a few drivers that have all looped it round at the same section of the track.
Seeing the AlphaTauri in the background reversing back onto the track.
The Haas is beached.
Yeah,
the Haas is beached.
He's actually stuck. So in the event he is actually stuck, he is allowed to reset to track.
Exactly the point I was going to make then, he's been disqualified.
Oh, he was parked for too long. Zilla, you had to reset to track, mate.
Oh, he will be fuming from third on the grid.
Yeah,
to
17th. That's really
harsh.
rough for him. That's unfortunate, but yeah, he needed to get off there, because if you stop anywhere on the track for too long, it will just it'll disqualify you just as a safety precaution.
And I found in situations like that, the biggest issue you face is your mentality, because we all know how resetting to track is so shunned upon that it's the last thing you think about doing until that disqualification notice comes up.
Absolutely.
He will be gutted. He'll be gutted, and rightly so.
Yeah, that's going to be devastating for the Haas teams. Philly has actually still set the pole of a 108.1. Oh, and we just caught something there. That was Naps and one of the Red Bulls. No, was it Azza? No, it wasn't Azza. It was Siphon. Oh, and Siphon again. So Siphon caught up in two incidents there. So something happened between Siphon and Naps as Naps was on a hot lap. And then just as I was swapping to him to confirm which Red Bull it was, we also saw an incident with Siphon and a McLaren, which may have been Freed Slim Shady or Arden Dash. I'm not sure which McLaren it was.
Whoever it was, well, we'll soon know. This is Ayrton Dash coming into the pits now. Now, is that for a new front wing? That's the million-dollar question. But poor Siphon was probably given a little bit of a hand there. Whether he got on the brakes a little bit too early and caught the McLaren off guard behind him or not, I don't know. But yeah, definitely given a bit of a helping hand. But look at that time, 1:08.17. So the reset for this qualifying has not affected Philly one iota. He's actually going quicker.
Yeah, Philly seems super confident out there. Doc Brown in the Twitch chat. Yes, this is ANZ, so Australia New Zealand Racing League. So we run 4 divisions, all for Australia and New Zealand. And yeah, we've got a lot of drivers back in the pits now. Very few people out on track as we see Skipper get the rear end really loose there. That's gonna ruin his lap, but I think he was on the in lap anyway. And yeah, so Naps unfortunately was unable to set a time after an incident with one of the Red Bulls. Foxy, I believe, is still yet to come out. Oh, Foxy is coming out right now. So he will be doing an out lap and commencing his hot lap. And has just started his off.
Got Mercy sitting in second spot at the moment. Great to see him up towards the front of the leaderboard. Westhoff, he'd be happy with that 109. Probably won't finish in fourth. He'll need to go better than that to maintain that spot, but at least he's up there for a short period, which does boost your confidence.
Yeah, no, they'll definitely be feeling really good about that. As you said, Mercy up there in P2, that's a great return to form from him, because he has in the past shown some really good pace. He's won a couple races here, but yeah, past sort of like season and a bit, he's not had the form that he has previously had. So it's good to see him back there on the front row, at least for now. The gap between him and Azza, 8 1,000ths of a second, so minuscule.
And Mercy's a really great guy too. He's very, how can I put this politically? He's very passionate about his racing, but is just a decent sort of a guy. And he's really adapting to league racing very, very quickly. I remember when he first started, he was scary to be around, but now he's scary to be around because he's just so darn quick. And generally, you're not around him. He's got, on his day, he's as fast as anybody out there. And it's just a matter of getting the psychology of it together now, which is starting to fall into play. As you mentioned, he's starting to find form again. And you know what it's like, old mate James, when you've got form and you're starting to get results, your confidence builds and you become a faster driver simply based on your confidence.
Yeah, you get that momentum. And well, it's not really anything you can quantifiably like determine. It's definitely something behind it, like having all that momentum in your confidence and stuff like that. It's a big thing, which is why like sometimes you see people sort of like leading a championship or starting to build a lead in a championship, and then as soon as they start to build that lead, it just skyrockets from there, and it's just that confidence and that momentum.
And of course, there's the opposite equation, and Milk from last season and me from the season before are classic examples of that, where it starts playing with your brain and you start making dumb mistakes and doing stupid things and you throw it away. So,
Yeah.
but look, I say that in jest for Milk and I, but you're right. When you've got the confidence, it opens up another level of performance for you. It really does.
Yeah,
Yes, Steady,
absolutely.
this is PC.
Yeah, Race Chaos, what platform this is? Yes, we do at the moment only do PC. We aren't experimenting with any sort of cross-platform stuff at the moment. So Mercy Hamilton, as he likes to call himself now, actually aborted that hot lap there, invalidated, I think, or had a bit of a moment. So he will actually come into the pits anyway. And I believe Naps is about to set another hot lap. Nope, he has actually turned the ERS off, so he'll be coming into the pits.
The interesting one in the top three at the moment is Freed Slim Shady. He's another man who, on his day, is like absolute lightning. He just lacked a little bit of consistency in previous seasons. I think this season, though, he's going to turn that around. And if you're looking at putting channel points on the championship, don't discount Freed Slim Shady.
Yeah, he's definitely shown in the past that he has the pace. But yeah, as you said, lacking a little bit of that consistency here and there. So, and as you know, HK, like consistency is key to winning races here. We do 50% races, so you know, consistency is what will get you across the line first, rather than just plain old straight speed. Especially if you're struggling with incidents and stuff like that.
And the best way I find to learn consistency is hop on the sim, turn it up to 110 AI, knowing full well that you're not going to win. Do full race distance, not our race distance, full race distance. do 86 laps around here. And if you don't pick up any time penalties, you're in a good spot come race day, you know?
Yeah, I do a similar thing, but I prefer to do the 50% race distance just because you get a feel for the tyres dropping off the
Yes.
same time the tyres will drop off in the league race. Yeah, otherwise it can be a bit hard to sort of gauge exactly where they're going to drop off if you're not racing the same distance.
I totally agree with you. I'm doing on average about 8 full sim races for every round.
Far out. That's crazy, mate.
And each time I do it, I will not do the same strategy each time. No way. I mix them up and I try different strategies. Some work, some don't. But that's all. As it's not just about whether the strategy is going to work. If you've done, okay, say at this track, 10 laps on soft tires, the car's going to feel really, really weird. So it's good to get that experience where you can go flashback rather than, oh, okay, now I need to go and sit outside and calm down,
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I like to do it without flashback enabled though, just to really sort of punish myself and make myself hate my life. But we actually have Azza there. Azza in the Red Bull, one of the top drivers from last week, our first race of the season, gets P2 just ahead of Naps by 2/1000ths of a second.
Nice.
And for Race K in chat, yes, you do basically have to be Australian or New Zealand. We run a general rule of thumb is you have to have 100 MS ping to a Sydney-based server on a speed test, really. Because anything higher than that, we start having a lot of issues with desync or lagging on the track into other cars and stuff like that. It has happened a lot before, especially when we used to have a whole bunch of Singapore guys. But even that was a little bit too bad.
Well, Naps is back out on track at the moment, trying to improve on his time, and it looks like he's on a flyer, but I don't see any purple sectors at the moment. Still looks reasonably efficient. Oh, mate, he's not far off.
He's not improved, but yeah, as you said, it's very close.
He doesn't need to find much to improve his time anyway, which would put him in P2 in front of Azza. Can he do it? Let's see. 4.5 minutes left to go in this session. He does.
He does. He improves his time by less than a tenth, but that is enough to get him back on the front row. The question is, HK though, do you think Naps probably won't have enough time to set another lap? That's probably going to be his last one, whereas Azza is in the pits, so Azza could potentially set another hot lap.
So to Siphon, so to Ayrton Dash, and more importantly, with no disrespect to any of them, so to Philly.
Yeah, it'll be... I mean, Philly's sitting pretty safe at the moment, though, because he's still 5/10 in front of Naps, who's currently sitting in second. So Philly looks like he's got that P1 on lock at the moment.
What do you do?
Cursing.
You sit in the pits and save the softs in case something goes on in the race, or do you come out and do you have a go? I think you've got to come out.
I think you come out, you do your outlap, really taking care of the tyres, and you get about halfway through your hot lap, maybe just through turn 4, and then depending on what the grid's looking like then, you abort from there. Hopefully he's got a decent race engineer. I don't know who's race engineering for Haas this season, actually.
Both of the Red Bulls are coming back out. So Azza and Siphon are going to go for another run, as you would expect.
Yep, that doesn't surprise me at all.
But I haven't seen any movement from Philly yet.
So Siphon, I think, has real potential here to gain a number of positions, as he's a decently quick driver. He just, unfortunately, this qualifying session so far hasn't really been able to string a really good lap together.
You get tracks like that, don't you? Where no matter what you do, you just can't find the pace, and you'll fiddle with your setup, and you'll change your ride heights, and you'll change your roll bars, and you just keep going backwards and backwards and backwards. It's just some circuits suit some drivers, and other circuits don't. I always hated street circuits. Absolutely hated them. Now, I don't know how good your memory is. I've won more on street circuits than I've won anywhere else. So I can't, but I hate them. I hate them. So go figure.
I like tracks like Baku and Monza. Just give me a track where I can hold my foot to the pedal for half the track and I'll be good to go. I just have to keep the wheel straight. That's it. So Mercy, currently provisional P4. We'll see. Actually, he's into the pits. So Mercy will not have enough time to set another lap. I don't think. It might be close, but I doubt it. Azza starting his.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. He's starting his flying lap, and the great thing is Philly is behind him on track. So the battle for the top three, we're going to see play out right in front of our eyes. He takes that really tight exit of turn 3, goes back to 5th gear, down through this section, invalidates. He's gone wide. Oh, he didn't invalidate.
No, he saved it. I think he had to do a big lift there, though, to prevent him from invalidating. So that will cost him a significant amount of time. So it's going to be tricky for him to get a personal best here. We'll see at the end of Sector 2 how he's going and if he's been able to improve.
That's the one good thing about the game as opposed to real life. You don't get penalised if you go off track like that, and don't increase your delta, where they can't do that in real life.
So long as you do some... Oh, I think that's going to be too much, though. That's going to be an aborted lap run.
Siphon goes to second quickest, though. His teammate in the second of the Red Bulls, as you predicted, had the chance to stand up and shine today, and he's done that. What can Philly do? He's on that fly, a purple sector in the second sector as well for him. So he's on target to improve.
He's a 10th up. We might see a 107 from Philly here, which will be an absolutely incredible time from Academy in a qualifying session. And he just misses out. Keep an eye on Naps, though. And Belida. So Belida crosses the line, does not improve. Naps is coming around the final corner now. That very long sweeping left-hander.
Just slightly down on his delta.
It's going to be close. No, Naps did not improve by just a small smidge.
He's got to be right behind Philly for the start of this race, and more importantly, alongside the man he had contact with in the final turn at Spain at the first round of the championship. Oh, mate, James, if I had to do commentary, I'm so glad it was tonight.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a really exciting one here. So, Freed Slim Shady may improve by a small amount, but it's... Oh, no, he actually doesn't improve, just misses out on improving. So he will maintain that P6. Still have Foxy. Unfortunately, Foxy has invalidated. And Belidat, who looks like he's running out of battery. He may have gone back-to-back fast laps here. He looks like he's... No, he's coming into the pits. So he will not improve either. And that will be the end of this quali session.
I wonder is Paul Recon still got issues, because he didn't post a time.
No, he didn't. That's a bit of a shame for him. And that's, as Steady said in chat, yeah, Recon, unfortunately, we had to red flag the session for his technical issues with the game disconnecting him. And he possibly had something similar happen to him again. So hopefully he'll be all sorted for the race.
Well, I feel a bit sorry for Recon, because he had that happen to him for the first couple of races when he came back from holidays.
Oh, did he?
Technical issues, they're all varying different technical issues. But the last round in Spain, he actually got to race, and he raced extremely well. It was very consistent out there. So I hope he gets in for the race.
Yeah, it'd be great to see. And it wouldn't be the first time we've seen him go all the way from the back of the grid to winning the race. As I believe it was Japan a couple of seasons ago, he did a 20 to first.
Nice.
So there's your grid, guys. So we've got on the front row, Philly and Siphon. Second row is Naps and Azza. Mercy and Hamilton and Freedsome Shady behind them. Westhoff and C. Marino. Curtinho and Art and Dash. And then in the second major pack, we've got your boy Cappy, Foxy, Belida, Skipper, Hazahawk, Recon, and Zilla. Unfortunately, Zilla picking up that DSQ for beaching that Haas on the hill there, just on the inside of Sector 2.
My heart bleeds for him. It really does. I just feel so sorry for that guy. He was sitting up on the front row of the grid at the end of the first qualifying session. And yeah, hey, look, that's the name of the game. And, this is where mental strength comes into it now, where you just have to knuckle down and go, you know what? This is Academy. A lot's going to go wrong. There will be safety cars. All I need to do is just go out there, be consistent, drive my race, and wherever I'm going to finish, I'm going to finish. Hopefully, it's high in the points.
Yeah,
It's all about
there's
attitude.
there's always that element of luck in all sort of motorsport, isn't it? Sometimes it's good luck and you're blessed with like the perfectly timed safety car. Sometimes it's bad luck. And here we go. We have 5 red lights. HK, do you want to take us away for the opening lap?
Oh, this is going to be fun. Let's go. Philly gets a great start. Siphon bogs down a little bit, and Azza comes screaming up the inside. Mercy Hamilton with a blinder as well. It's going to be Naps into second spot, then Mercy. Azza is just being pushed a little bit wide, and I saw a Red Bull going off track as well, trying to find space as well. But Philly starts this race exactly like he did in qualifying, out in front.
Yeah, really, really good start by him. Naps attempted a challenge there a little bit, but there wasn't too much he can do. We see a Williams go right off the track, cause a little bit of contact with the Red Bull as he rejoins. And Freed Slim Shady in the McLaren has actually had a really big incident there and is now well behind the rest of the pack.
Now, while this first lap gets underway, it's very difficult for casters to be in 4 places at once, but I can tell you that the majority of the runners are all on medium. C. Marino's on softs, and Yo Boy Cappy is on softs as well. Hazahawk's elected to come out on hards, but Philly just making every post a winner. 1.3 seconds on this opening lap. He's already broken DRS.
Yeah, that's a huge start from Philly, and I think he's really benefited from all these cars behind him sort of squabbling a little bit, and he's able to sort of just get away with it. Unfortunately, really bad start for both the McLarens, as after Freed Slim Shady had a little bit of an incident in turn, I think it's 5-6, Art and Dash had really big issues and is still having issues. It's looking like he's having a very hard time getting back on track.
Recon's made up 3 spots straight off the start. Skipper's had a blinder of the start too, although he's under pressure from Foxy at the moment. Mercy Hamilton was able to get round Azza like he was standing still. He hasn't used all his ERS. He's still got a fair amount of it in the bank. A Siphon, I think it was. No, further back in the field. It's C. Marino's had a spin. He's ghosting and tries to get out of everyone's way, but he's lost a mountain of spots.
Yeah, and I think now that those tyres are massively overheated, he'll continue to drop back through these S's potentially. Oh no, it looks like he's actually held the spot okay to a reasonable standard. I'll just bring up the tyres for the stream. So we've got 2 people starting on the softs. That's your boy Cappy and C. Marino. Hazahawk, the only driver opting for the hard start, and then everyone else is on the mediums.
Isn't it interesting as we see a bit of a challenge on Mercy Hamilton at the moment as Azza and he are battling for that real estate. Azza's backed out of it. And now we'll have DRS down this back straight. Can he make it a winner? I always find it very difficult to overtake down here, but it looks like he's got an absolute blinder of a run, Azza, but he's not going to have enough to get alongside by this next turn.
It looks a lot like Azza's kind of content just to stay there for the moment. So Azza's actually not using barely any of his battery, yeah. If anything, he's on too much battery because he's going to hit the 100% cap and then sit there probably through this sector too. So you want to juice around to what, 80 to 85% and sit there. And Brazil is kind of one of those tracks where you will make up a little bit of battery per lap. So it's not the worst thing to juice a little bit.
I found that especially if you're behind somebody, I probably shouldn't say this until after I race, but if you're behind somebody and you brake early and just select one gear down and then slowly come down through the gears, you can engine brake into a lot of these corners and really charge that ERS up very quickly.
Hang on, let me just find my notepad, HK, and then can you just repeat that so I get this all down for tomorrow night when we're racing each other?
Sorry, I got no idea what you're talking about. Now let's see what Azza does. He's on 98% at the moment.
Versus Mercy's 60, and Mercy is juicing defensively. He's using that battery on the exit of turn 3.
This could be a cunning play, right? Stay behind Mercy, let Mercy drag you into the DRS range of Naps, then overtake. Then you've got DRS, and then you've only got to wait to try and close in on Philly before you. Oh, problems though. Mercy's into the wall.
Yeah, that has to be severe front wing damage. Oh, and that's got to be an unsafe rejoin as well by Mercy, straight into the path of Skipper in the Ferrari there. Skipper is not going to be happy with that one.
He is a driver I haven't spoken about, and it's a shame because I can't see any wing damage on that car, by the way.
On Mercy's Mercedes.
Yeah, unless it's a graphical thing. Well, let's see if he goes into the pitch, but I'm not seeing anything. And Westhoff's had a spin as well in the final turn.
It still definitely looks like it has both end plates. I guess he wasn't really going super quick when he went into the wall, but I would have expected at least an end plate missing from an incident like that.
Yeah, a bit shocked by that one. Yeah, Skipper, he is not only part of the Ferrari Academy, he's part of the HK Academy too. He's a very consistent driver.
Sorry to interrupt you there, HK, but we've actually got a DNF of Art and Dash.
Oh no.
It's through... I'm not sure if that's a retirement on track. I'm trying really hard to figure out where exactly he is. According to the minimap, he was off the edge of turn 4 or 5. So not entirely sure what happened there. But that is our first driver out of the race, and it has not caused a safety car as he was well outside of the bounds of track.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you're right.
Things are getting spicy, and the poor McLaren drivers have their rough start has gone from bad to worse here, as they now have unfortunately lost Art and Dash.
And Free Slim Shady sitting back there in 13th spot, so the McLaren curse that I know oh so well continues on. And Zilla not making that much ground. He's in 15th at the moment. Just in front of Hazahawk, and a long way to go to catch up to Recon.
We've got an awesome battle here going on between Skipper and Mercy as well, as Mercy took Skipper into the final corner. Skipper took it back down the main start-finish straight, and now these guys are getting really, really close. There may have been a slight bit of contact there, unsure. Skipper looks like he almost lifted to yield the position, so potentially contact there, and Skipper looked to redress on track.
He may well have. He's a very, for a young guy, he's got a very good brain on his shoulders, and he chooses his battles. It gets a bit tail happy there though, and that puts him under a bit of pressure from Foxy once again. He'll just be looking to try and stay in the slipstream if he can. He's just outside that at the moment, so 1.1, 1.2 is where it's sitting. He'll try and make it up in this second sector to see if he can get that DRS range and keep Foxy from overtaking him.
Yeah, Mercy's back on the charge after he had that incident where he... it looks like he got front wing damage, but it certainly doesn't look like he's driving with front wing damage. He is absolutely flying. He is now within DRS range of Curtino in front of him as Skipper loses the position to Foxy under DRS and is now being attacked by Bolidat in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he was a sitting duck there with DRS and a whole stack of ERS in the tank as well, so it was always going to end that way for him.
This gap between Philly and Naps up in P1, P2 has been sitting at around just over a second and a half this whole time. So I'm unsure exactly if Philly's been able to pull away or if he's not. The gap looks like it's increasing now, and Philly doing really, really well on the battery. So 83% battery for Philly, while Naps has been cruising.
Speaking of cruising, a big shout out to my teammate, Kufu Cowboy, who's away on a family holiday at the moment, trying to do the IRL thing, look after the family, but he's taken time out from his holiday to tune into us to see how his Ferrari teammates are going. So I give him 100% credit for that, dude. I love you for it. Your missus may not, but I love you for it.
He's so humble as well. He's in the Twitch chat saying this would have been my race.
Now Skipper, his teammate, goes down the inside of Foxy. Foxy defends, uses every bit of the racetrack and a little bit more. So that will be interesting. But Skipper's not done with yet. He's in the DRS range. He's going to have a look down into turn 4, dives to the inside. Oh, there's been a bit of contact.
I don't think that was too bad though. That contact was not too bad, and I think that was a really clean move. That was a good move by Skipper.
Now what can he do? Can he hold down that spot? Unfortunately for him, though, they've lost 3 seconds to Mercy Hamilton, who has just got back into DRS range of Coutinho. So this is going to get fascinating between those two. Coutinho, he's a capable pilot on his day too, and I thought did a really good job at the first round, and I dipped my lid to him.
We had a bit of an incident just there with Naps. He was running in P2 about 2 seconds or second and a half behind Philly, and it seems like he had a bit of an incident there at the start of Sector 3 and ended up off track. And he's now dropped back to P4 as a result.
Well, that puts Azza up into second, Siphon to third now. Siphon. Siphon, what do you reckon Siphon will be doing for the remainder of this race?
I think he's going to be trying as hard as he can to catch up to his teammate in the Red Bull.
I think he'll be just making sure Naps doesn't get anywhere near him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's going to be... I don't know if he's going to have much of a choice in that. Naps may be up on him pretty soon. Although with that little bit of an incident, that spin that Naps had, I'm not too familiar with how his tyres were looking after that.
Well, for the old people that are into Formula One, which is basically just me and nobody else, Murray Walker used to say, catching is one thing, passing is another.
Yeah, absolutely. Although with DRS here now in 2 locations, as Mercy gets the pass on Curtino quite easily, as Curtino spins at the end of Sector 2. Yeah, with DRS here, down the start-finish straight and then all the way down that secondary straight after turn 3, it is a little bit easier than it sometimes would be.
So Paul Reblets in chat, he can't do the safety car thing because there's been no safety cars. So now he's got another DNF before X amount of lap is the only thing that the chat can actually put their hard-earned on at the moment. So GG to you, Reblets, for coming up with some original ideas, my friend. Now, Mercy's got an Everest to climb here. 5 seconds to Naps. Naps is not slow. We know that. Hazahawk gets a 3-second time penalty, the first after 10 laps. So
that's actually quite impressive by these academy drivers.
I think there's a lot to be said about the academy drivers.
That's really good, especially with how easy it is to accidentally get warnings for track limits in like that turn 1, 2, 3 section. Like it's really good that these guys are going mostly penalty free at the moment. Yeah, and as you said, Mercy, he's about 5 seconds back from Naps at the moment. I don't think he's going to catch Naps anytime soon, as Naps is about to be in DRS range of Siphon.
But, this is going to get fiery, isn't it?
It's going to turn into a bit of a grind, I think. And there goes Zilla now, second one to pick up that 3-second penalty.
So they're starting to come now, the track limit penalties. While you do that, I might just jump into Race Director and I'll tell you what the state of play is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many of these drivers are actually on 2 warnings. As we see, Curtinho goes around in turn 2, so that's the second little spin in as many laps for him, unfortunately.
We've got
just picked up another 3 spins. 1 for Azza, that's not too bad. How many does Philly have? Is Philly sitting pretty on 0, or is he sweating a little bit on 2 or something?
We've got 1 for Naps. Now let's have a look at Philly.
Nothing for Philly. That's really impressive. Still sitting on about that 80 to 83% ERS as well. He is absolutely cruising. I do have the spectator showing me that he's got red fuel at the moment, but I believe that's a little bit of a bug this time, unlike last game. So it'll show spectator red fuel, but he should still have enough to finish the race.
Well, now Naps has been able to close in that gap and is back into a comfortable DRS range of about 0.7, 0.8 of a second. So let's see what he can do now. He would have absolutely chewed those tyres, as got a spinner in the background. I think that might have been Coutinho again having an issue.
No, no, it wasn't.
No,
I
was it?
think it was Sim. Yeah, it was Sim Marino, who is
Hey,
now
Marino.
unfortunately a lapped car, and Skipper in the Ferrari. Oh, sorry, no,
Whoa! Siphon
Siphon
just, yeah, there was a
lag,
desync there,
big
yeah, and he
desync. Yeah,
big desync, and he lost that spot. So Naps picks up a freebie.
yeah. I mean, Naps will be cheering about that, but hopefully, Siphon will be very upset, and hopefully that does not happen again. He'll be spewing, losing positions for no real reason like that, in a completely undefensible way. Bit further back in the pack, we have a big battle for P6 going on between Skipper, Foxy, and Belidat, as a Belidat juicing hard and on 0% battery down the main straight. So
Oh,
Belidat really slamming that ERS trying to get past Foxy there, but when Foxy's got the rear wing open as well from Skipper, it makes it really difficult.
yeah, it makes it almost impossible, doesn't it? And Skipper's doing an absolutely awesome job, and that's not bias. Um, he has really driven a smart race so far at a very difficult racetrack to get it right lap after lap. And 36 laps around here is a long race distance.
Yeah, it really is. It's a relatively short lap time, but it's also quite a technical track, so it's got to really pay attention for the entirety of the lap here, really. There's only the two straights, which are not the longest straights in the world.
And Skipper at the moment just flirting on the edge of breaking DRS to Foxy. Werribboy's in the camp helping him out tonight. I normally engineer for Skipper, who got very slow there. He's got a problem. He's made, whether he missed a gear or something, I don't know. But Foxy's all over the back of him now. It'll go rocketing past. So just as I was giving the guy a rap, it all came falling apart. But he does have DRS going into this next section of the track, and 51% ERS over his nearest rival, which is Foxy on about 20 at the moment.
Yeah, he's got that big battery advantage as Foxy used it to get past him, but Foxy's looking like he's pretty clear of any sort of potential counterattack by Skipper there in that second DRS zone.
Now, Azza is in front of Philly. Interesting to note that Naps has pitted for the hards early, so he's going for the undercut.
Yeah, we caught Naps pitting for the hards there in the middle of that battle. We did not catch Az's pass on Philly. Did Philly have some sort of a major incident or something to cause that?
I don't know.
Because he was a good like 2.5 seconds clear of P2.
He was like 5 seconds out in front and just cruising.
Well, he's coming to pit now, so I'm assuming we'll see Philly put on the hards in just a second. We'll jump over to one of these battles to see what's going on. And the rest of these leaders pit now as well. So Az's pit and Siphon's pit. Skipper.
Reblitz, if you're still listening to the stream, can you let us know what happened to Philly? Because he's in the pit at the moment.
So,
sorry.
words from Reblitz is Philly spun just to give himself a bit of a challenge.
Oh, rubbish. So he spun. He spun.
Yes,
Mercy
apparently.
leading the race over Foxy, who was down mid-pack and now finds himself in second spot, albeit still to pit. Belidat sitting in third, then Azza the first of the pitters, with Philly right behind, then Naps. Now it'll be interesting to see what Philly can do, whether he can close this gap down to Azza and regain that race lead.
It looks like the undercut here from Naps may have been effective, as Philly struggling to get the hard tyres back up to temperature. Naps right on the edge of that DRS activation window. It's not looking like he'll get it. Oh, it's going to be so close though.
How good's this?
I think Philly may have got those hard tyres back up to temperature now, but Naps is using the battery really early, as we see Mercy and Alida come into pit now. So Foxy's still yet to pit. Naps did not get the rear wing open down the main straight, so Philly managing to stay just outside of DRS range, and Philly now looking to reel in Azza. It's looking a lot like or a very, very similar grid to what we saw last week for the opening race of the season, HK. we've
Let's
got
hope it's a different result.
yeah, we've got Azza, Philly, and Naps all sort of jostling for a potential podium at this stage.
Well, now that Philly's got those tyres up to temperature, he's been able to give himself another 10th breathing space down through this section of the track, and is just starting to stretch his legs a little bit. And he's very, very close to being able to get round this lapped car, which, even though they ghost, I hate ghosting. I just wish they could just get out of the way and not rely on the ghosting. I can't see the apexes of the turns going through it. He did do that, tried to get out of the way. But I just find it so difficult when you've got a ghosting car in front of you to see where you're supposed to be braking.
Yeah, no, so it is, even with ghosting on, ignoring blue flags is technically still a punishable offence
Absolutely.
in the ARL rulebook. So it'll all just depend on if they get reported for it and if the FIA deems that they ignored the blue flags for a long enough period of time. So I believe you're shown 3 blue flags before you are obligated and you must yield the position. So, and then for every blue flag after those 3 that you ignore, it's a significant time penalty for each blue flag that you ignore. So they can add up quite quickly.
The thing is, even if that be the case, once you're overtaken, you're not allowed to unlap yourself. And I dare say that there's going to be a Williams driver in trouble. I'll have a word to anyway about that, I would think.
Yeah.
But we'll leave that up for another day. And a lot of the times, I remember my first race in ARL. I did it. I tried to because I thought, oh, hang on a second, we're ghosting. I can get myself back. And then I heard it was Mercy in not Mercy, Mez in commentary said, oh, this guy needs to get out of the way. And I was listening to the commentary that I'm doing the wrong thing here. I'll pull over to the side of the track. The commentators are upset with me. So yeah, sometimes it can just be a knowledge thing and not, doing the wrong thing, so to speak.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I believe my first race, or one of my first races, the game was telling me under safety car to pass the car in front of me, and I didn't know what to do. Like, I had read the rule book, but obviously at that stage I didn't know it back to back, front to back. So it's like, oh, do I pass him? Do I not? I can't remember. So I tried to go for the pass and then caused contact, and then of course I get punished for that, which I 100% should have been. But I was in the wrong. But yeah, everyone makes those sort of mistakes when they're just getting into the racing.
And it was exactly the same with me. I read the rule book and it said when you get a blue flag, you're out, just get out of the way. But when I saw the ghosting, I thought, oh, hang on, maybe it's changed and I didn't know. So it's exactly right. It's not that they're doing the wrong thing. It's just not understanding. Nap's got a 3-second penalty too. That's significant.
That's very significant here. That may... it won't completely put him out of the shot for the podium. I see the gap to Mercy behind at the moment is 4.5 seconds. So it should be okay right now, but especially if we see a late safety car, that could become a really big issue.
Yeah, safety car really get this very interesting, wouldn't it? But Philly unable to catch up with Azza, and good on Azza too. As we spoke about earlier on, had that issue going down into the final group of turns in Spain at the previous round, and sort of bounce back from that the way you want to bounce back from that, out in front of the pack with everyone else in your revision mirror. That's the sign of a good driver.
Yeah, this is beginning to look like a really, really sort of strategy-based race, as we have Mercy actually pitted 2 laps before Naps. So I wonder if will Naps' hard tyres start to drop off enough by the end of the race. Oh, and actually, disregard that, as we see Mercy have a bit of a moment in the end of Sector 2, and that'll cause him to drop right back from Naps. Now Siphon takes P4. So Red Bull, they finished really well constructors points-wise last week with 2-3. They're now looking at 1 and 4, and potentially 1 and 3, depending on how close Siphon can end up getting to Naps there by the end of this race. Still 16 to go.
There's a big gap, isn't there, Siphon? And he's under a bit of pressure, I should say, from Mercy. He's only 1.1 behind and is trying to get back into that DRS range. He's had an eventful race, hasn't he? I mean, showed plenty of pace, but just things haven't gone his way in this one. But now is within that second marker. If he can hold this through the middle sector, he's got a chance of moving forward one.
Yeah, well, I believe Mercy did just set the fastest Sector 1 that he's done so far this race by 0.2 of a second. So that's a pretty significant improvement, and that just goes to show how far he is really pushing that Mercedes at the moment. He is working that car hard in order to maintain itself.
Well, he's nearly picked up 0.3 of a second in that final sector. In fact, does that now and is well within DRS range. So this is game on for him. He can see good points up for grabs in the championship, and he's attacking.
There you go. He just set the fastest lap of the race so far, but was that contact, or did he just lose the rear end there? It looked like there may have been a tiny little bit of tyre rubbing. I'm not too sure.
I thought he did it on his own, but he did a great job to gather it up. So GG for that.
It was an excellent save. He managed to prevent the rear end from coming all the way around, which would have cost him at least another 4 or 5 seconds getting back on track. This way, he just drops back off the end of Siphon, but doesn't lose any positions to any cars behind him. And speaking of the car behind him, Breed Slim Shady, 20-lap-old mediums.
He's got to be going softs, hasn't he? Those tyres would be nearly on canvas, wouldn't they?
We have a DNF. Recon is into the wall at in between the second last corner and the last corner, and that has caused a full safety, folks. So Azza has just passed pit entry, did not pit. Philly actually is going to take the opportunity. He's only on 6-lap-old hards that he is going to pit, and I don't know what Philly's going to pit for, because I don't think the softs can make it to the end from here.
Well, Freed gets a Freed pit stop, and he's going to take advantage of that right now.
Yeah.
Dives into the pits.
He's going to be cheering after that one, after pushing those mediums for so long.
And Philly pitted. He's on brand new mediums now on the track.
I didn't know that they got a second set of mediums here.
Yep. Two sets of mediums and whatever softs you've got left over. Naps has gone for softs. So this is going to get really interesting. They're going to be on canvas come the end of the race.
Yeah, I think it's way too soon to go for softs here.
They won't be on canvas. I mean, they will do 10 laps, and 10 laps, well, on my setup anyway, will give you about 35 to 40% wear. But
are they really going to be a better option than the mediums, though?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, the mediums surely are going to be a much better paced tyre throughout the rest of the duration of the race with the amount that the softs will drop off. Because the softs will lose, almost a 10th per lap. And we've got about 13 laps to go after this safety car.
They'll do 10 laps easily, but, as you say, how the grip starts to disappear. Probably around about lap 7, all of a sudden you're back on a par with the medium runners, and depending on how hard you push it and how aggressive your setup is, particularly toe in and stuff like that. I mean, everyone goes left, right, don't they? But there are other aspects that come into play with regards to setup and tyre wear. So it all depends what I used to have fantastic tyre wear. Now it's just gutted because I use the tyres a lot more by pushing. So I don't know enough about the way Nabs drives to have an educated opinion, but he seems confident. He's elected to do it, so we'll see.
Interesting to see Azza decide to stay out there. He was the only driver in the top 10, actually besides Belida, who decided to stay out. We've got your boy Cappy in 7th as well, but he gained a number of positions when everyone pitted in front of him. And I'll just have to excuse myself. I have to duck away really quickly while we're under safety car. So
that's one of those things, that point you make. It's really quite fascinating. If you're leading the race, you're absolutely sitting on cloud 9. You feel like everything's going your way. Then the safety car comes out. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. With that many laps, I would have thought that jumping in for mediums would have been the smart call, but I can understand why he elected to stay out. He's on 8-lap-old hards. The mediums are going to wash off a little bit. Whether they'll wash off in those 10 laps, I don't know. I doubt it very much. I think the medium runners are going to have a bit of an upper hand here, but they'll be able to pull out a far enough gap, particularly just trying to get temperature into those tyres for the opening couple of laps. But it's going to be really interesting for Azza to try and stick with these guys and see if he can sort of fight back in the closing stages of the race. It's going to be a tough one, but we are hoping that a safety car might come out and put a bit of spice into it. And it's not just put it in with regards to the drivers at the point end of the field, but look at the tyre choices. Yo boy Cappy stayed out on those 12-lap-old hards. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers behind him on brand new mediums. Then Freed Slim Shady, who's gone for the hards that are brand new. Then Coutinho in that mix as well. So this is not sorted by any stretch of the imagination. If you just joined us coming into this round, Philly leads the championship with 25 points over Azza. Then we've got Siphon in third, Naps in fourth, Recon was fifth, but he's now DNF'd. And then you go back to Conrad, who couldn't be here tonight, and Skipper in seventh. He sits in ninth at the moment, the Ferrari pilot. He's being very consistent, doing a good job.
All right.
So what do you reckon, chat? What would you like to be on for this one? Would you go the mediums or would you have stayed out on the hards? Interesting to see what chat would say. I know what Lemon will say. He would have gone the mediums. I think Fluxy would have gone the med. Yeah, Fluxy said he would go the meds. 9-lap-old hards, old mate James. This is going to get interesting. Safety car coming in. Let's go, baby.
So Azza now has control of the pack. And I have to agree with Fluxy. Like, it's silly to stay on the hards there. I don't know if Azza just didn't catch the message that the safety car was out in time, because he was very close. Azza actually lost it on the restart before he's even gone. He's gone into the wall on the inside of the last corner. And that's absolute carnage for him. What's going on? This has caused huge confusion at the back of the pack as people don't know when to go. It looks like people are handing positions back for overtaking under yellow flags. Azza's Naps has a 5-second penalty for corner cutting and gaining a position.
I'm in for a long week.
That is an absolutely horrendous restart. Excuse my attitude there. And Billy Dat goes around.
Oh no, Billy Dat. Free Slim Shady picks up another spot though, so GG for him.
Yeah, he's Free Slim Shady looking to finish quite strong here, considering the start that McLaren had. And we are starting to see the penalties roll in now. Reblitz has thrown up a new prediction, and it's going to be who will win. Oh, and Hazahawk with a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. So a lot of these guys picking up big penalties here on the restart. Naps now with 13 seconds.
And he's gone now. He's gone on those softs. There's no way. He's juicing like mad to try and close the gap to Philly, but if he's not in DRS range, there's no way those softs are going to last to the end.
No, I mean, and with the 13 seconds of penalties, he's now just trying to get as far ahead of everyone as he can, because he will lose so many positions with that. That is a massive amount of penalties here.
Yeah, but I'm not. See, the reason why I'm not counting that in my judgments, because there are circumstances of which those penalties can be removed, and
that's true. So
and I didn't see what happens. Disqualification for parking in a dangerous location for C Marino.
Oh, he's beached it. Oh no! Same thing, a similar thing that happened to Zilla has happened to him in the just on the exit of the penultimate corner. There, he's beached the car on the crest of the hill on the outside of the track, and unfortunately hasn't reset to track in time, and that's put him out of the race.
Lemon, we're going to have a long week, my friend. We're going to have a long week.
So
the FIA.
Yeah.
This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, my condolences, sir.
You said that last week. DRS now open. Naps 3.4 off. Siphon is managing to stay with him on those softs too, so he's sitting in a great spot to be able to pick up second. We'll just go with outright on the track for this, for all intensive purposes. And Mercy not out of this one at all.
we've seen Azza come into the pits now. Poor Azza in the Red Bull has gone from the top of the tops all the way down. He will end up coming out of the pits in P12.
Oh,
So-
that's heartbreaking. He's such an enthusiastic guy, and obviously, as you can see on track here today, a very capable pilot as well on his day. And his race is effectively done. Yeah, finishing in the points would be an enormous Herculean effort from here, and the guy just doesn't deserve it. He's a very enthusiastic race car driver, and is getting very, very good at this game. So I genuinely have much sympathy for him at the
Yeah,
moment.
I think that incident that he had on the restart was a symptom of just being on those old hards. He probably let the temperature get out of them quite a bit, as well as it's difficult to maintain tyre temperature here under the safety car as it goes fairly slowly through sector 2. So he probably just tried to get on the gas on the beans there on the restart and just lost the rear and put the front into the wall.
Yeah, and knowing when to go and when not to go is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The start-finish line's almost at the end of the start-finish
HK,
straight, so
speaking of when to go, freed Slim Shady with a massive dive up the inside of your boy Cappy, which sort of doesn't quite push him wide, but compromises his position a lot, and Skipper ends up getting ahead as well. So both of those guys move up a position. Your boy Cappy loses 2.
he's a wily little fox, Skippy, isn't he?
Yeah, that was a brilliant move there. He saw Cappy run a little bit wider than the racing line, compromised by that move, and said, hello, there's a gap I can fit my Ferrari in.
He's just lacking pace at the moment, and that will come. We all know that it'll come. And when it does, I really feel sorry for the opposition, because I think this guy could be very, very good. He's smart. He makes sure that when he has a go, he gets the overtaking maneuver done, which is something I can't claim. He's just really efficient at doing what he does. And there's a great battle going on behind him as well between Foxy and the old boy Cappy. They're going side by side as well. Still side by side.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Very tight. Cappy holding his line. Now
Both
they're going to go
Alpines.
3 wide. Wow, Westhoff capitalising massive there. Is he going to hold out Foxy? He's going to try. They're going side. I don't think Foxy's been through a turn in the last 5 where somebody hasn't been on either the inside or the outside of him.
Yeah, this is incredible pack racing from these guys. That was so well done not to cause any incidents there. Beautiful wheel-to-wheel racing, and this is what I was talking about before we started this main event, HK, where like the track just lends itself to such good wheel-to-wheel battles flowing through multiple corners here. Oh, as we see Foxy actually have a bit of an incident, loses the rear just a little bit, which will give Cappy the position back. Oh, and there he goes again, and then there's contact as well with Curtin Ho behind him. So, unfortunately, Foxy suffering a lot there. It looks like his rear tyres are on struggle street in terms of temperature. Jump back up to the front of the grid where Mercy is closing in on Siphon.
Yeah, you got to feel a bit sorry for Foxy. None of that was his own doing, I wouldn't think, and he'd be raging under that helmet at the moment, as we all do in such scenarios, be us in the right or be us in the wrong. It doesn't matter. Let's see what Mercy can do right up behind Siphon, as you pointed out, both on exactly the same tyres, both on 8-lap old mediums, and these two, I think, are going to put on a hell of a show for us. Let's see what he can do. He's right within the DRS range at the moment.
He's gaining on him as well. That gap has dropped down to 0.3 of a second, and he doesn't even have DRS yet. Mercy with the battery advantage as well, 60% versus the 30% of Siphon. So Siphon's going to be really vulnerable here down the main straight.
Vulnerable, I think he's going to be 4th, to be honest with you. Let's see. The DRS opens and Mercy goes straight to the outside. Siphon goes to defend the inside. They're going to try under brakes, but no, the overtaking manoeuvre done before the braking area. So a good job there by Mercy Hamilton.
And will Mercy be able to hold it now between on this DRS straight between 3 and 4? He doesn't really want to use the battery to hold the position unless he really has to, and it looks like he won't have to, even
How's
without
that?
battery. He's got
Nerves of steel. Nerves of steel to not do that, because you just want to get stuck straight into it. But you know, if you do, it's going to cost you later, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, nerves of steel.
Yeah, so this gap between Philly and Naps as well, not really closing up as much as Naps would like it to, considering he's on the softer compound. And I'd say those softs now are probably hitting the point where the mediums have the pace advantage.
I don't know how much you can take graphics into account with this game, but if you go on board with him and have a look, you'll see that there's a lot of streaking on those tyres. So I dare say that they've seen better days.
Yeah, I'm not sure how reliable the visual effects are there, but it definitely does look like there's a fair bit of wear on those front soft tires for Naps.
That gives Philly just a cruise at the moment. He's just on vacation. He's a bit like Khufu Cowboy sitting at Noosa having a cocktail at the moment, I dare say.
Oh, mate, that sounds wonderful. I'm jealous now. Khufu, let's swap places. This battle between Mercy and Siphon, though, is not over yet, as Siphon has stayed with Mercy quite easily, and the ERS advantage by Mercy not as significant as it was last lap.
Look how quickly they're catching up to Nats. Now back into DRS range goes Mercy Hamilton just for the briefest moment. So Naps is just sitting there almost like an anchor at the moment, that car. And you can see big snap as he made his way out of that final turn. So he already knows that this is gone.
Yeah, that'll give Mercy the easy DRS without having to push too hard. And Naps is actually harvesting that battery as well. Naps has basically no ERS left, which is going to really make it hard for him to defend this position. And Philly's still sitting on about 30%, so Philly looking pretty happy. He's not out of the woods yet. He's not standing on the podium yet, but it's looking pretty good for Philly.
And Naps is probably one of only a few drivers in the field that I probably haven't had the chance to have a good chat with at some stage. But I don't think you need to know anything about the guy to know that at the moment with tyres that aren't working the way he'd like, no ERS, it's just a sinking feeling. You know the inevitable is going to happen and you want to fight for it, but you just don't have the ammunition.
It's just a question of what happens first at this point. Is he going to reach the finish line or is he going to be overtaken? I'd say he's almost certainly going to lose the position to Mercy this lap, but will he lose the position to Siphon as well? Is going to be the question.
Well, he might be smart to just give it up to Mercy and then see if he can stay in DRS range of Mercy. If he can, maybe that might keep him out of jail for a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the smartest play here, I think, as Naps having the DRS will make it really hard for Siphon to get past him. Although Naps does have those 13 seconds worth of penalties, but we know that some of them were gained on the safety car restart, so we're not sure if he's going to be able to get any of them removed or.
Well, there obviously could be the potential for that. So, worst case scenario, he's still got a 3-second time penalty, and he's under pressure from Siphon at the moment, who's absolutely throwing it at him, trying to find a way around. He wants to get on with this because he knows that while he's stuck behind him, Mercy's getting away, and with only a couple of laps to go, he needs to make this move very, very fast, but it's just not falling into his hands.
Yeah, it's so difficult to overtake through Sector 2 there. You have to have a massive grip advantage over your opponent if you want to get the move done there, or your opponent needs to make a big error, which we are not likely to see Nap make here, as we actually just saw Siphon get a little bit squirrely there through the entrance of the last corner, and that may actually make it hard for him to overtake Naps here, even though Siphon has a bit more battery. Yeah, Siphon doesn't get the overtake done on Naps.
And he used a ton of his ERS getting nothing done. So that's going to cost him. He's going to go for it again on the back straight. Does he open up? Yep, he opens up ERS. He's got DRS open. He needs to get it done now. Naps is thought about going defensive, then come back and picked up the racing line. All fair there. Siphon, is he going to have a dive down the inside? He's going to have to launch, unfortunately, if he wants to get this done, because Mercy is able to just give himself a little bit more breathing space, and it won't be long before Mercy will be able to break it. He's gone to try and get the over and under, but it doesn't work this time around.
No, this is really good racing here between Naps and Siphon. You could tell Siphon really wanted to send it around there at the start of Sector 2, but he just knew that he couldn't. There's no real overtaking opportunity there, especially with Naps driving the way he's driving. Naps parked it really, well, not parked it, but positioned his car really, really well just to the inside of the racing line. So there wasn't enough space to go around the outside, but there wasn't enough space to make a lunge up the inside either. Unfortunately, oh,
He
he
likes
still
to fight,
keeps
Naps, doesn't he?
he still keeps P3
Yeah.
again for another lap down the main straight. We're now on the final lap of this race, and we'll stay here. It looks like Siphon is giving it everything now. Both these guys slamming the battery. Siphon just gets in front. Finally, at the start of Sector 2, he's finally not sitting behind Naps for a whole of Sector 2, losing time to Mercy again, but unfortunately, Mercy's off down the road.
He's absolutely gone. Race leader making his way through the final group of turns right now. What a commanding performance from Philly. The championship leader at the end of the first round, and all of a sudden he's going to pick up maximum points here today. A pole position that was absolutely blinding, and the checkered flag about to come out, old mate James.
And this is back-to-back wins for Philly as well. And Zilla with an impressive recovery drive as well. He was way, way down last position from a questionable quality disqualification. Philly brings home P1, Mercy P2, Siphon picks up P3. Naps will cross the line P4 on track, but he has 13 seconds of penalties currently,
Another one.
which will put him all the way back to 7th. So Zilla P4, Freed Slim Shady 5, Skipper 6, Naps 7th, Westhoff 8th, Cappy 9th, Azza with some penalties as well. 3 seconds for Azza, so if Foxy doesn't dawdle to the line here, Foxy will get points, and Foxy does. Into P10.
Good on him. He had a torrid race, Foxy. He's deserving of some points. Not as many as probably entitled to, but good on him for not giving up and having a go.
Yeah, no, that was a really good race by all of our academy drivers here. Incredibly exciting to watch. We had one safety car there, sort of to the later middle stage of the race, if that makes sense. And that was just enough to keep it spicy, I think.
The later middle part of the race. Sorry, I had to do that to you. That's hilarious.
So there we go. So Philly P1, Mercy P2, Siphon P3, pending any FIA intervention. Zilla drops up to P4 with Naps' penalty. Freed Slim Shady 5th, Skipper 6th, Naps all the way down to 7th with that penalty for now. We don't know if that's getting removed. Westhoff 8th, Cappy 9th, Foxy 10th. And then rounding out the rest of the grid just outside the points, we have Azza, who also got the fastest lap with a 1:10.4. Curtin Ho, P12, Belida P13, 14 is Hazahawk, 15 C Marino, 16 Recon, and 17 Yard Damage. I'll just really quickly do the race director if anyone may want to.
Yeah, and that'll be worth looking at, particularly position number on lap 21. Naps got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, then the 5-second penalty for corner cutting. So worst or best case scenario, even if he does get the corner cutting one taken away, he's still going to be a good 8 seconds off the time anyway. So a tough outing for him, and yeah, not fun.
No, so yeah, it's a shame. We've actually not seen many drivers get done for that speeding in the pit lane lately, which is really good to see across ARL as a whole, improving quite a bit with that sort of stuff.
No, I think they keep that for me.
It's not letting me close the game for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I can't.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Goodness.
So, is there anyone in particular that you want to talk to, HK? Because I would like to talk to Philly, and I would like to talk to Mercy.
Absolutely. I'm with you on both accounts there.
Okay, I know Philly is actually pretty keen for an interview most of the time, so let's bring him in first of all. So, ladies and gentlemen, Philly here in the commentary box, the race winner in the Haas, back-to-back race wins, Philly. How do you feel about that?
I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a boring race. I didn't really.
Oh, okay.
No, not like that, not like that. I never fought anyone.
Well, Philly, I have it on reliable information that you've done a ton of practice coming in today. Talk us through what you did in the lead up to this Grand Prix.
Who told you that?
I got spies everywhere, brother.
Um,
Are
I
they
mean,
right?
I did. I not the most. I definitely could have done more. Most of my practice is just playing on like a my team save or something, and then I'll just like do a couple laps. But I do like improving my times again and again. So yeah, that's fair. I do practice decent bit.
Because your TT time was quite impressive, not just for academy
Impressive.
class. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was a 108. It was an 08.8, and I don't I don't play TT.
You're
So
like me. You're like me.
yeah,
And your 08.8 was nothing compared to what you actually did out on the track in
yeah, eight
qualifying.
tenths quicker.
So close to a 107. Did you think you were going to get it or what?
I was on that last lap that I went out for. I just wanted it, and I think I was up about 10th and a half, and then coming out the last corner, I messed it up and only improved by
Oh,
like 700.
bottled it.
So yeah, I did.
And old mate James will tell you there's never a boring race because when you're out in front and you've got no one to fight with, you have to still maintain your focus and your concentration. What were you doing to maintain that and not make mistakes?
Well, I mean, as you guys might have seen, I spun, so
We
that
didn't
wasn't.
actually
We
see it. We saw the
yeah.
end
Yeah,
result.
We heard that you
yeah,
spun and we saw that you were in second, but there was a lot of battles going on, so unfortunately we didn't actually catch the spin itself on stream. Where
yeah.
did that actually happen on track?
Oh, that turn too.
Oh, turn two? Yeah,
Yeah,
just got on the gas a little bit early on the entry to
a
it
little
all.
bit too early.
Yeah, okay. It's so easy to do that there as well.
Yeah.
Good on you for not picking up any penalties though. We're talking
No, I
about
didn't
that
get a single warning.
during the race as well, because Brazil is a track where it's pretty easy to pick up those penalties and for corner cutting, especially through that like 1, 2, and 3 flow of the corners. So good on you for staying clean, mate. Consistency is
It's,
key.
yeah,
Right.
Outstanding
it is.
job.
It's great.
And now you're out in front of the championship and got a bit of breathing space. How does that feel?
Oh no, it's great. I mean, unfortunate for Azza coming out the safety car, he messed up big time.
Yeah,
So
we
that's
caught
given
that
me a bit of
one.
a yeah, that's given me a bit of a buffer at the top. But he'll be back next week, and I know he's quick enough to have the pace to win. So I look forward to
He may have been the spy.
it.
Well done, Philly. Congratulations, mate. A top performance.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
mate.
right, have a good one.
You too, mate. See ya.
See ya.
All right, let's try and get Mercy now in the Mercedes and see what he has to say. So he had a really quite impressive drive, I thought, tonight, and ended up bringing home P2.
He's muted at the moment. The boy is back. Mercy, welcome back to the podium.
Yeah, it's good to be.
Talk us through that one. You had fights galore.
Oh yeah, no, it was hectic all race.
Yeah, we were watching actually. There were a lot of battles going on, especially in that sort of top of the midfield sort of area, fighting for the podiums. And fortunately, you managed to come out just ahead of some of the others, and you got that P2. Was it a difficult race for you?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, nah, I struggled.
How so?
I don't know. I just tried to. Well, I couldn't feel my left hand after the race, but um,
Can you smell
especially in that.
toast? Can you taste
Sorry?
copper?
Yeah. No, especially in that first sector, I struggled a lot, especially with like corners 1 and 2. Had like I think 1 or 2 warnings there, but then. Yeah, nah, me and Siphon were just battling all race. Like, it was unbelievable. Had a spin early, but, things happen.
Yeah, well, does it feel good to be back on the podium? You've been away from it just for a little bit now, haven't you? So.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm a bit washed. But,
Why the turnaround, Mercy? What do you think what do you put it down to yourself? I know you think really intensely about your racing because you did go off the boil, but that was a really strong performance. How's it come about?
Um, well, some of it was luck. The other, well, I mean, I just really had kept my head down. I mean, I was battling with Naps, Siphon. I'm pretty sure there was another one in there, but Philly was just I could not catch. He was in a league of his own. Philly
No.
was. So
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to catch him, but I knew I had the pace at the end there to get Naps and also get Siphon. But yeah, no, it's just good racing overall. I just really kept my head down.
Mate, I'm really happy for you. Congratulations. That is absolutely outstanding.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, mate. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah. Before I go, I'd like to say Hamilton's an 8-time world champion. Bye.
See you,
Oh,
brother.
he snuck that one in before I could serve a meeting in time.
There's one other driver, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind having a chat with.
Of course.
Let's bring him into the commentary box at the moment. I think he's got a fair bit to tell us from what happened out there. Asa, talk us through it.
Oh,
Firstly, we want to
man.
know, why didn't you pit under safety car? What happened? Because we didn't see.
Well, first and foremost, I give my congratulations to Philly again, second week in a row. Congratulations to him. He put up a very, very, very good race.
Somebody told me that it'd be like that here.
Yeah, me and him, we were talking quite a lot, and let's just say he taught me a lot on this track. He revolutionized my line, and you know, got me to the place where I could stand for a few laps until I got unfortunately wrecked by
Yeah,
the game, not
What's
Philly, by the game.
what happened there on the restart?
So I had VK as our engineer, SVYT, whatever he changed his name to.
Yep.
And his game crashed, and his computer crashed, and I was
Oh.
relying on him to help me because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just driving. You know what I mean?
So it's always someone else's fault, is it, Asa?
No.
Gotta take ownership for your
No,
own
no, no.
crashes, mate. You're the one that put it in the wall. Come on.
No. That's not what I was going for. I was talking about. I'm talking about like reminding me to pit, right? Because like the game mechanic, I'm not too familiar with anything. But no, it's 100% my fault. But yeah, no, I was gonna pit, but I didn't know what to do. Right. So
Oh,
my
right. You're
first
talking
time,
about when the safety car came out.
yeah. So
Yeah, okay. Yep.
the way that I do it, like we had like a strategy, so we we're getting told what to do, and that's the same for qualifying and everything. Okay, now the spin. I was well aware that my tires were very, very cold, so I'm trying to heat them up. I don't exactly get to the point where it's safe to stomp the throttle down. And then I got throttle locked, and I no word of a lie. Like I was actually shaking. My hands were shaking because I've never been
The
so
adrenaline
nervous
was
in my
kicking
life.
in.
Yeah, no, I was so nervous, and I was freaking out, and like then I got throttle locked, so I'm thinking, oh no, what's happening? Like this is gonna ruin everything. And I'm freaking out. I'm like spamming like up and down on the shift, and I don't even realize my foot's like half down. And then I fix it, and then because my tires are cold, it just kicks me
Bang.
out, and I spin.
Yeah.
And I have the clip and everything, bro. I'm like borderline ready to throw my hand into the screen. Like,
We caught it on the
oh
stream as well
man.
from a really I mean, yeah, it looked horrible. We felt really bad for you, but we caught it from a spectacularly looking angle on the stream.
Yeah, second week in a row that you've caught a better angle of my incidents.
Well, from somebody who's made the Chris videos for raging, I give you 10 out of 10 for sticking in there and keep it going. Because like you were outside the top 10, you came out, you did the fastest lap of the race, ended up picking up, I think, a track limit violation. But it just gives you gives us an idea of your intestinal fortitude and how much you're really committed to just going forward and hoping that maybe the luck did change. But that is a tough one for you, mate. I can totally. You look. There's nobody in the chat that has not been in the same position that you were today. I'll give you that as a heads up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, like at the end of the day, like I was just in the chat and I was talking to SVYT and Siphon. I said, look, like it's only round 2. Like, as disappointed as I am, like it's it's round 2. There's so much more left in this season, and there's room to grow as a driver. And I mean, this will probably be a big learning curve considering I had a pretty good shot at podium, but it is what it is. So it's
Yeah.
as disappointing as it is, it's fine.
That's an excellent
It's
attitude to have, mate, because it 100% is that. It's not a sprint to the finish here. It is only the second race of the season, which I'm not sure if it's been announced just yet, but the season has been extended by a little bit. You may not have heard it here first. So
yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with that.
yeah, so you're right, 100%. Like there is still plenty of opportunity left in this championship, and there hasn't been a single championship ever decided in the second race of the season. So keep your chin up, and we will be watching you keenly for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, like, as HK said, like, pulling fastest lap and everything, like, I just didn't give up. I was like, well, there's blokes that are like 30 seconds in front of me. Maybe I can salvage something in the last 8 laps. So I did my best. Just went full bore. My tires were pretty cooked by the end of it, but I just kept going to the end. And I'm not seeing that track violation getting moved, but 11th place. That's whatever. That's fine.
Well, that's the attitude that wins championships, brother.
hopefully, fingers crossed. I can do better next round.
Good on you.
Have
Thanks
a good one,
thanks
guys.
for being a good sport and having a chat after such a difficult race too. That's big big testament to you too. So well done.
Cheers. Thanks for having me. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks,
Take
mate.
it easy.
See ya.
I'll send him back to. Oh, he's gone. That now, old mate James. We started off by talking. We talked about a lot of things, but we talked about the community, right? Have a look at that. First and second in the championship, working together between races to help each other go forward. How good is ARL?
That's excellent to see. That's like exactly what you want. You want that like camaraderie and mateship and everything. And it's great because then the league gets better in terms of racecraft and everything as a whole, right? The drivers get better. They get quicker, they get better with their racecraft. They discover, by talking to each other like that, they may discover new lines and stuff that they wouldn't have necessarily thought of themselves. So it's just great to see.
That's it warms it feeding and warms my heart when I see stuff like that. And this championships, I don't think this is going to be over. Even though the guys at the front of the pack, and I'm going to include Azza in that, even though he didn't get the result that he was hoping for today. Siphon, Naps, Conrod didn't come out and play today. Mercy, of course, we know is quick. Free Slim Shady can win races. There's a long way to go in this championship, and with it being extended, might come back and do this with you again.
Well, we could only be so lucky, HK. It's
Oh,
been
yeah.
wonderful having you here tonight.
Thank
So,
you, brother.
on
It's
that
been
note,
fun.
I think that will wrap up the stream for tonight. So thank you everyone for joining us. This has been the Academy Division of ARL Season 6, Round 2 at Brazil. Please join us tomorrow night, same time, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Australian Daylight Savings Time, for our Novice Division, where you can watch HK absolutely slaughter me on track.
Spin. You can watch me spin. and everything that I said positive about how to drive, just throw out the window and just drive like a lunatic.
That's right, I generally go with that strategy anyway. So.
Have fun, everybody.
Thanks, HK. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.